Okay folks, buckle up because I'm about to take you on a behind-the-scenes tour of some of football's biggest backstabbing betrayals. We're talking mega money moves, bitter rivalries, and enough drama to make a telenovela writer blush. These are the stories of the snakes who turned on their beloved clubs to slither off for more cash and glory elsewhere. It's betrayal at its finest, the kind of stuff that'll have you yelling, "Judas!" on your TV screen. Get ready for rage, betrayal, and maybe even a projectile pig's head or two flying through the air. Let's start with the golden boy of all football betrayals, Luis Figo ditching Barcelona for their biggest rivals, Real Madrid, back in 2000. This one stung like finding out your partner had been cheating on you with your sworn enemy. The audacity! Figo was an absolute god at Barcelona. He scored screamers for fun, kissing that club crest after every goal like it was the love of his life. Barca fans worshipped the ground this Portuguese wizard walked on. He was their talisman, their icon, their hero. But then Real Madrid came waving their wealthy checkbook under Figo's nose, tempting him away with a mind-boggling €60 million transfer fee. Figo's head spun around quicker than Linda Blair's in The Exorcist. However, shortly before the deal was completed, Figo started having second thoughts. People were making threats against his daughters because of the move. Figo told his representative that he did not want to go to Real Madrid after all, but the deal said that if Figo didn't sign with Real Madrid, he would have to pay them €35 million. This was a very difficult situation for Figo. Figo's representative did not think the Real Madrid president who set up the deal would actually get elected. But when that president did get elected, it meant Figo had to either join Real Madrid or pay €35 million. He felt he had no choice. When he returned to the Camp Nou for the first time in Real's white kit, Barcelona's fans rained down hell upon their former idol. We're talking coins, bottles, batteries, you name it, getting hurled at Figo from the stands. At one point, an actual pig's head got launched onto the pitch too. Talking of fans feeling utterly betrayed, let's cast our minds back to when Robin van Persie was banging them in for fun at Arsenal. The silky Dutchman was an outright goal machine in his prime at the Emirates, scoring screamers from every angle imaginable. Arsenal fans adored him back then. That is, until he decided to ditch the Gunners for their fiercest rivals, Manchester United in 2012. Cue millions of heartbroken Arsenal fans sobbing hot tears of betrayal into their hands. After giving his all for Arsenal for 8 seasons, even bagging 30 league goals in his final mind-blowing campaign, Van Persie stabbed them in the back, joining Sir Alex Ferguson's ranks for one final tilt at the Premier League before retiring, and guess what? At least Van Persie was vindicated as he ended up winning the league. As for Arsenal, it was the ultimate kick in the teeth. Cue fan videos galore of supporters burning Van Persie shirts and slating his name from here to kingdom come. This guy had been their hero, the one they trusted to never ever turn into a snake. But then he went and bit the hand that fed him, earning him the Judas moniker. Alright, let's move on to possibly the most erratic mercenary in world football, Mr. Carlos Tevez, the wandering mercenary. This guy treats club allegiances like cities on a pub crawl. He's been around the block so many times, he's liable to get stamps on loyalty cards from half the teams in Europe. It started at West Ham for Tevez before he quickly upped and moved to Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. Couldn't get enough of those Fergie millions, could he? But then the crazy Argentine decided to jump ship again, this time for United's noisy neighbors, Manchester City, and an even fatter paycheck. A few years and one Juventus stint later, Tevez was back at his boyhood club, Boca Juniors in Argentina. Finally found his spiritual home. You thought? Nah, of course not. Like a true football mercenary, he was off again barely 12 months later to chase more cash in the Chinese Super League. Tevez was a very Suarez-like talent, and he could have been spoken in the same breath had he stayed at a single club for more than 4 years. Anyway, moving on. Ah yes, loyalty and Ashley Cole. 2 words that definitely don't go together in a sentence. This guy is the poster boy for putting money over absolutely everything, even the club that made him. Arsenal fans nurtured young Cashley from a fresh-faced teen into an elite left-back for both club and country. giving him his first real shot at the big time. They adored him in his early years, watching him grow into an England star right before their eyes. But how did Cole repay their faith? Soon as Roman Abramovich's Russian rubles came wafting under Cole's nostrils over at Chelsea in 2006, he scampered off to West London quicker than a rabbit from a fox. Arsenal supporters were understandably incensed at Cole's blatant money-grabbing betrayal. They waved fake £20 notes with his face on during matches, branding him the ultimate Cashley, a sellout mercenary only interested in stuffing his pockets rather than staying loyal. To this day, Cole remains among the most hated former players ever in Arsenal's illustrious history, all for turning his back on the club that made him for an extra few quid in his back pocket. So much for showing any sentimentality, eh, Cashley? Next up is a betrayal so deep and bitter, they're still bitching about it in the streets and pubs of Tottenham to this very day. Spurs got their own Ashley Cole episode. I'm talking, of course, about Sol Campbell, the idle, defensive rock and club captain abandoning Spurs to join their most hated rivals, Arsenal, on a free in 2001. Now this one stings like a cheating ex announcing their new relationship on the same day you got dumped. Campbell was Tottenham through and through before stabbing the club's loyal fans squarely in the heart. Not only did the traitorous defender cross the street to join Spurs' most detested foes, he didn't even earn them a single penny in doing so. What an absolute kick in the teeth for Tottenham supporters everywhere. Upon Campbell's return to White Hart Lane for the first time in Arsenal red, Spurs fans unveiled gigantic Judas banners and hurled ceaseless streams of abuse in their former hero's direction. Years of undying loyalty and respect evaporated like a desert puddle in the blink of an eye. Okay, let's move on from Sol Campbell to another gut-wrenching betrayal that hit Liverpool fans for a 6 straight down the ground. A cricket reference for our cricket fanbase, wink wink. I'm talking about the £50 million Roman Abramovich shelled out to prize Fernando Torres away from Anfield back in 2011. For years leading up to that fateful day, Torres had been banging them in left, right and centre as Liverpool's talismanic number 9. He almost single-handedly dragged the club to glory some seasons, scoring big goals in the biggest games through sheer force of will. Torres was everything to Liverpool in his prime. Their hero, their savior, their idol. Copites worshipped him. Torres had a permanent banner section at Anfield. All that love ended in disaster. He turned his back on the Liverpool fans who had idolized him for years to chase personal glory at Stamford Bridge instead. To say it was a gut punch for Reds everywhere would be a massive understatement. Here was their talisman, their ultimate goal-getter, abandoning them for a rival just as he entered his prime years. It stung like a million bees. The funny thing is, despite Chelsea splashing out a British transfer record fee at the time, Torres turned into a shadow of his former self in West London. He managed just 20 Premier League goals over 3 underwhelming seasons before eventually being shipped out. Alright, get ready for one of the most bizarre backstabbing tales in football history. It's so wonderfully unique and ludicrous, you'll barely believe it's true. The story revolves around Danish legend Michael Laudrup and a supposedly unpaid £2 million loyalty bonus from Barcelona in 1994. According to Laudrup, Barcelona was refusing to cough up the £2 million they owed him after 5 loyal years of service. Being the level-headed cap he was, the classy Dane decided to take matters into his own hands in the most over-the-top way imaginable. He hired a literal gang of fake armed robbers, complete with wigs, masks, and replica guns to orchestrate an outrageous heist and steal the £2 million owed to him straight from Barcelona's offices. Honestly, you can't make this stuff up. So there was Laudrup, watching backdoors open and his masked cronies charging into Barca's headquarters, wielding fake firearms and making off with the suitcases of cash he'd been owed all along. It was like a scene ripped straight out of a cheesy 1980s action movie. Barcelona bigwigs looked on in utter disbelief as their former hero Laudrup oversaw this loopy made-for-TV heist to get his unpaid bonuses back. To this day, it remains one of the most backstabbing yet undeniably iconic money-grabbing tales in football history. You could have gone anywhere else but United. were the words from Liverpool fans. Owen explained he tried coming back to Anfield after the failed stint at Real Madrid, but his explanation fell on deaf ears. Michael Owen joined Manchester United in 2009 to the utter disbelief amongst Liverpool fans. Owen's reasoning was that he was past his prime and he wanted to win silverware, which had evaded him for the last 60 years. Still, joining the greatest archenemies of your boyhood club takes some gall. Owen did win a Premier League title with Manchester United, but it came at a cost. He had lost the respect of the fans of his boyhood club. Only Owen can tell whether such a treacherous move was worth it or not. Owen put his whole legacy on the line with that move. A Ballon d'Or winner was living on scraps at United. It was just a silly, weird move. Hey, Owen at least has the City goal to be proud of from his United days. Silver lining and everything.